All right, good afternoon to you all. I hope everyone is having a great Sunday so far. Whoever is there, can you please give me a shout out? Can you hear me and can you see me okay? Always like to do that before I get rolling into it, as I have gone on in a Sunday video and no one's been able to hear me. So can you hear me and see me okay? Hey, Long Boy, hello, welcome. All right, guys, so I hope quarantine is treating you okay and your loved ones and your friends and family. Really a time, I was doing dishes yesterday and I started getting a little pensive and thinking about things, and really tried to look at the positives of what all of this time has brought to me, as far as what have I been able to do with it. Really thought about the positives that have come out of this time, and getting to really know my daughters, getting to know how important it is to reach out to your loved ones and just check in. Hey, how's it going? Some people don't necessarily do well with all this time by themselves, and just to also reach out and help other people. We are all the same, right? We were all born the same. It doesn't matter what our skin tone, it doesn't matter what our ethnicity, what our religion. We are all people and we all need help at certain times. So if you see someone that's struggling, or just reach out and ask if someone can have help. I know that has been something that's huge. Like, even just little things can change somebody's day if they're having a bad day, or if this time is really affecting them. And that's part of why I started the series of Learn to Trade online, where I'm doing some really quick, short 3, 5, 8-minute videos to go ahead and really help people to learn how to trade. It's a great time to learn the market. It is always a good time to learn how to be profitable when you're trading around stocks and options and everything like that. So it's going very, very slowly, and I'll slowly be covering different topics. But if there's anything that you guys see that you would like, go ahead and put it in the comments or in the chat, and I will go ahead and check it out. Or you guys can always email me at jane@cjanetrade.com. I'm totally accessible. Here, I'll even put it in here. So jane@cjanetrade.com. All right. Thanks, Artsy. And awesome, Jarrett. Hey, Bogdan. Hey, Trader Walt. Where are you guys tuning in from, too? I love to hear that. I love to see the reach that this broadcast reaches, because I'm up in Canada right now. So I'm really excited to see how far we are able to reach. I'm just going to get my other screen set up in the meantime, doing a little bit of a split screen so we can go ahead and get the watch list up on the left and then the charts. And we will go ahead and get into the watch list. Is there anything you guys have questions on right off of the bat that we can cover, or that I will go ahead and try to touch on? California, awesome. Florida, hey Trader Walt. DC, that's where I was born. New York, although you're living in Kazakhstan. Okay, Jarrett. Well, we will look, Long. We will check that out for sure. Let's go ahead and pull up the charts over here. So quick disclaimer as well, guys, I did have my Series 7 about 20 years ago. It is no longer current. So please do your own due diligence with your trading. Please know that there are risks in trading all sorts of securities instruments, varying degrees of risk. No past performance is indicative of future performance. All right. Now that that is out of the way, you can see the list right over here. I'm actually going to move this to the other screen to save some space. What I'll do here, I'll type it over here so you guys can see it. Loco band, oops, there we go. Band, TWOU, UFI, Zeus, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. Apple didn't move down. Amazon too. If you guys remember last week, I talked about Amazon potentially having that run up into earnings. Sure enough, it did. That was an awesome trade on Thursday. All right, and then Apple on Friday. So let's get into everything. Okay, so I always talk about, oh, I just hid the chat. I can't see what you guys are talking about. Awesome, Roberto. My mom grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, so I know North Carolina. Best hush puppies in Hendersonville at Nunnery Freeman. Nice Al-Hajjori. Happy Ramadan to you. Hopefully it's evening there and you're able to eat now. All right, let's get into the daily chart on the SPY. You guys know I have a lot of lines on here, but let's go ahead and try to break it down a little bit. Okay, so we came up here to this moving average, this green dotted line, and pulled back, right? And we are, I really wish I could get them to change these alert lines to be orange, to be just like blend into the background like I do the other lines right here. So we've started to have the averages curling down. We are below the VWAP as well for the daily averages here. Came down, tested. You can see this area was an area of consolidation distribution, and we went down and then ripped up higher. So you can see sometimes when these big guys are laying a position, they can take it up, down, and then they go back up again. So that's acting as support at the moment. So looking for further breakdown of the 281 area, even this is the 20 simple moving average on the daily chart. I would like to see that break even more. So if we're going to go down the hill even further, I think that 275 area really needs to go ahead and break down. And right now it would need to really break above, again, right here, the 286.64 area. So we're kind of in like a no trade zone at the moment because we have all this volume right here and we have the volume right down here. So it can either break down from here or break out. But in this time zone, really for the weeks, like a couple weeks, we've just sort of been hovering around in this area. So that can be a big position that's happening, whether it's going to go up or it's going to head to the downside. So you can see this yellow trend line as well that I drew from the bottoms, that is, it's going to go ahead, it's below that trend line, so we could go ahead and break down further. Okay, hold on 2 seconds, guys. All right, sorry about that. My eldest decided to see if she could have a little chat. All right, so let's check out NASDAQ, right? And we also, I forgot to point this out on the SPY. We're still the 20 crossed up above the 50, so that's going to be a fairly bullish sign. And we are holding above the 50, so I would want to see that that 50 simple moving average also gets broken to the downside as well for it to be more of a bearish move. All right, on to the Qs. All right, so again, we set a bit of a higher high here, but look, we've had this resistance right here, so it wasn't able to go ahead. Let's do this. Let's draw just a quick horizontal line right here. So you can see that this acted as support, right? It was resistance for one day, came back, support, bounced up, went below, bounced up, came down, tested it, and then came down again, tested it, down. So this is now the first test, the upside. So for the Qs, we'd really want to see that 219 level go ahead and get broken, and then down here below, I'd like to see it break down below 205. So a 14-point area of which we could have, I'm talking about the big trend for what we're looking for. You know, we are starting to see, again, the averages curling down. So that's a bit of a bearish move, but we had that right here too, and it bounced right back up to a new high. Whenever we start to see that the market's going to sell off, you can see we had a new high, pulled back, set a new high, lots of volume, and then it came down. So we didn't have that much volume. You can see down here, it's actually kind of slowing. Here again, we had big volume on this sell day. Lots of people got short onto the index, and it squeezed them on up. Really big guys like to go ahead and do that. They like to squeeze the shorts, take them out, force them to buy the shares that they are selling. Let's look at the Russell. So the Russell, you can see is now just at the 50 simple moving average, 124.58 over here, this blue line, and we closed at 125.14. We did test it. We hit the 21 EMA right here, this green dotted line, and now we could be potentially pulling back again. Same scenario. A lot of the indexes are looking the same, right? And we could see, I'll go ahead, we have a bit of a gap here to the upside, so we'll go ahead and put an alert there to see if we cross up that, above that, we could be heading back up to fill the gap, 128.97. So it might be a nice $2 move to the upside right there if we were to break above 127. Otherwise, looking for this area right here that was really a resistance in the past, also the 20 simple moving average, set an alert right there. I want to see it cross down below 121 right here. All right. So long, I'll go ahead and I'll cover it. Let's do this. I'll add BA at the bottom down here. So I make sure that we cover it at the end down there. So if you guys have any other stocks you want my opinion on, let me know. I'll just add it here at the bottom and we'll go over it as it comes. All right, so FCX, that was from last week. All right, so let's get into Loco, right? All right, so you can see Loco was on my list before, but right now they've had big move to the upside. We started to see lots of volume, right? And so I want to see that it's going to, we've got this tighter area right here, but would like to see a further break of 1440 area. Move it up 2 cents right there. So we had bigger volume on Friday, had earnings, great, sort of hovered around, and then it ripped higher overnight. So when that happens, many times, this is a big positioning day, right? When we're just seeing that consolidation, it's not really going too much of anywhere. And the earnings were negative 0.2. But it's still, the market overall liked it. Maybe there's lots of pickups that's happening with the coronavirus right now. Whatever it is right at the moment, the market liked it. We can see if it goes and it breaks that 1440 area, another strong test of the 1466, you can see right over here, right? The low right here, and then potentially up to 1480. It likes to move on that 20-cent increment. You can see $15 right here, 1520, 1540. You can see as well the highs right here. It's a great example of cup and shoulder, excuse me, head and shoulders here. So we have the shoulder, head, and shoulder, right? So if we break above that 1480 potential test of 15, 1520, 1540, and then on up to 1560, watch the 20-cent increments. It looks like it really likes that, looking at the chart right here. All right, and again, with the Sunday list here, so Loco is also lower float with 17.9 million. So if the shorts start to get squeezed, it could have a bit bigger of a move there. So our support of 1332 and resistance of, initial resistance of 14. All right, so let's look at band as well. All right, so band, let's get rid of the other lines down here. You can see I had it a long time ago on my list because those were all the way down there. So it must have been with earnings back in November. So now it's just had earnings. It's setting all-time highs. So many times when you have that happen, it will pull back a bit and then it will go ahead and continue that upward trend. Also, when stocks, there's some statistic, like when a stock hits 80, that there's something like 80% chance that that stock is going to 100. I don't know what the time frame is. I got to look up all the statistics, but we have that it's tested a prior high back here. It did test it, and then there was selling power. So really watching for it to go ahead and break above these areas here, right? 90, 63. When we look at our 15-minute chart, 89.70 really looked like resistance. They went ahead and took it up in the middle of the day, right? When most of the algorithms are in control. So you can see how in the middle of the day, if you just get rid of from 11 to about 2 o'clock, if you just hid this area right here, it pretty much continued that uptrend, right? All day. besides crazy price action in the middle of the day. And band also has lower float with 18 million, and it was 39% short float volume on Friday. Now we also have 2U Inc., right? They had earnings. It is a technology software company, and the earnings, it seemed like they liked the earnings, right? So 2350 area for support and 25 for resistance for me. For potential move to the upside or downside, we'll go back. So you can see it's really just sort of been consolidating right here. Every time it tests that 25 level, it sells off, except for this little anomaly right here. And once it went above, they dropped it down. You can see a little bit more volume, and then it came back. 2U Inc. has 53% short volume. It was 61.4 million in the float. And so keep it on watch. If it breaks above that 25 level, you can see how long that held, but we are also curling above. We've curled above the 50 simple moving average. Here's our 200 simple moving average. So that's going to be a bullish sign in itself that it's crossed above the 2. We had the golden cross of the 50 crossing over the 200 right here. We did hit this, again, this moving average right here, right? And it pulled back. Last time it went above it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, and then it pulled back. So again, looking for that to break above and potentially hold as support. You can see it hit it here, sold off, sold off. So this is a third time, and it's still sold off and closed below. So it might be a potential short from here as well. Just keep it on watch, right? That's why I have potential longs and potential shorts. Next potential long, UFI. Look at that nice chart, right? It came down, it's gapped up, we had earnings. We've got this 50 simple moving average here. If it really breaks that 1240 area, could go on up to 1325. Let's go to our 15-minute chart. Again, wait for it to let you get into it, right? Don't guess. And of course, these areas could change on Monday morning, tomorrow morning. So 1140 to the downside, would want to see that hold, and a 12 to the upside. Go ahead and put it that round number right up there. So 60-cent area to watch and see. But again, if we do break that and we're able to go ahead and break subsequently that 1220 area, 1240 area, could have a nice move up to the 50 simple moving average right there. So 1140 and 12. Andy, $10. Is that what your guess is for UFI? All right. Next potential is Zeus. All right. Or I guess I can. All right. So Zeus, we did hit the 50 simple moving average. This does have 9 million in the float. So looking for that to go ahead, if it can, break above this area right here, the 1025, 1040 area. You can see how in the past that really acted as resistance. That's why I really like the black and white with the moving averages. It's to see where's that price action in relation to these averages. Where did it stop in the past? I found that the red and green was getting to me, and I don't know. I just really, oops, how did I go backwards onto Zeus or UFI? All right, so let's go again. Let's draw our support down here. 975 area looks like pretty strong support, right? It's held it. And then if we go forward, go ahead and put it up here at the 1020 area. All right, so again, let's look back at the back. It stopped pretty much just below that 50 simple moving average, the 1009 right here. So looking for that, but it's got that move. All right, it came, it tested that 50 simple moving average, massive volume, where are we going to go from this massive volume? Is it going to continue to the upside or is it going to continue to the downside? Because we do have that doji, and look at, let me move the chart up. When was the last time that you guys saw that massive volume? All right, let's see, we had pretty good volume here and here, but really all the way back up here at 1747. So looking to see it's in the steel sector, could have an influence on it. So keep it on watch. That's why we do this. All right, so Zeus, I'm just filling out the chart over here because I do also post it. If you don't watch live, you can always see it on, see the watch list on Instagram with Miss Airplane Jane. And also a link to the video too. All right, so we've got Amazon right here. Crazy day, all-time highs, pulled back to the 21 EMA and the 20 simple moving average. We also have this yellow trend line, which it pretty much almost came and touched it, right? So this is for the low from March 16th to the low of April 3rd. So if that breaks down 22.44, we might see that Amazon, also a major player in the indexes as well for SPY and QQQ. If that starts to pull down, we're going to look for test over here. We're going to look for test of the level of 21.77, so it could have a nice $50 move to the downside. And then if that breaks down, we'd look for 21.21. So putting it on watch, right? This one can have big moves. And if you can master those big moves, I was just talking about risk management in the video that I just did for the little learn to trade, right? If you have one share of this and you trade it in the proper direction, or if you're nimble and you switch direction fairly quickly, you know, you could make $200 in a day, right? Off of 2,400. So you could easily make a profit and a great living just trading something that has large range throughout the day. All right, so for the list, going into Monday, we'll do 22.68 and 23.20. Go ahead and give it those round numbers. Because it is such a large price stock, you could give it more to that round number area because it could really move. You might want to give it a little bit more wiggle room. All right, hold on 2 seconds, guys. Hold on. Oops, what did I do here? All right, sorry about that delay. All right, so when we look back at it again on the yearly, it might have a bit more of a bounce up to the averages and then come back down as well. But we did have fairly high volume here, and you can see the last time we had that really high volume, we are below that candlestick. So we're below the latest high volume, which is not going to be bullish, right? If we had massive volume back there, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 weeks ago, we had that big volume, also came up and hit a new high and pulled back, and every time it was pulling back. This was a bit of a short squeeze day, and then boom, drops down, right? So we're below that massive volume, feeling more bearish on Amazon, even though we're having, they are being an alpha stock throughout all of this. All right, so Microsoft, same thing. Microsoft is a big player in those indexes, right? So let's go ahead. Yeah, I like that bearish below area. I'm going to tighten this a bit more. I'm going to tighten this down to 175. Let's make it 176. Go ahead and give it that round dollar. Also happens to be the 90 simple moving average on the 15-minute chart. All right, so again, we hit a high, higher volume, pulled back, came down, hit the 15 EMA and bounced, and that has acted as support as well. So if we continue, if we break down from 174, looking for a target of 172 area right here on the 15 EMA, then on down to the 20, because we can see it acted as support in the past. Then you can see here we've got this. If we go all the way back down here, we've got some other averages, the 50 simple moving average down at 161, all the way down to 156. If we were to break down from there, because we've seen higher volume, came up, drew this trend line from the 2 highs. So we'll see if it breaks above that, that's going to be bullish if we can have a large volume behind it. Other than that, we gapped up, sold off. We're in between the 4 and the 8 right here. Could be an indecision day coming up on Monday. Could be more positioning, but would look for more break up of 176 potentially to the long side and 174 to the downside. Andy, I do not use Anchored VWAP. I do know that from Brian Shannon. He is awesome. I do use it on TrendSpider, but I find that TrendSpider lags a little bit in the speed at which it loads. But I love the Anchored VWAP that Brian uses. I haven't found the script on here yet, as of yet, on TradingView, and I am a creature of habit and love TradingView. So I love these charts because I can see them exactly the same on my phone. So I don't use it for that reason, but it is a great tool, and I do check it on TrendSpider as well. Okay, so let's look at Apple. So Apple, again, another major player, and this is awesome. If you guys have any interest in following the dark pools too, we have the Training Pit and the Java Pit, and I was there trading Apple on Friday, and I was saying, hey guys, watch out, because at $2.99 we have this trend line. I'm not sure where it is, but watch out for this trend line because I see it there, and maybe those computers are set up to sell again. And it was crazy. I think that's the first time ever that I've pegged the top of a stock in a trade. And it was really cool to see that and be able to give everyone warning in our room. And in looking back on the daily as well, you can see that was the trend line from where we sold off as well. So that kind of gives me a feeling like, hey, Apple just had earnings. They sold off on that trend line in which we were pulling back up in February. Are they going to test it again? They could. They could test it again. We did have pretty nice volume. It was also earnings. They did have, you know, news of good earnings. However, the market sold it off. It ripped higher. It ripped the shorts higher, and then it pulled back. And you can see on the 15-minute, it looks like this 50 simple moving average has really acted as support. After that, it rode it right up after hours on Friday. So that could be a sign that it's still fairly bullish, but always be prepared both directions, right? So 289 for support and 292. Yes, Andy, I love the range ups too. The range ups are awesome. Pretty much like a VWAP candlestick, which is really cool. I love that. Something on here that I like too is the VPSV, the volume session, but I don't put it on right now, more when I'm trading and looking at it, because you can see, all right, so we've also had 2 days where the point of control for the volume was up higher, and then we broke the point of control there. So maybe they're going to come back down here and test 280 before they take it up. So that's my little one again. All right, guys, I'm getting close. We still have HERN to put on here for potential short. Let me hide that over there.
I cut my ice cream and the orange off on myself.
Okay. She is not wanting to rest while her sister has a little bit of a nap. So sorry about that, guys.
And I think you want to come in your office.
Yes, can you please be quiet, love?
Yes, okay.
I love you too. All right, so we've got this area of support right here. And see right here, I don't know if you guys see this too, right off the bat, I sort of see a bit of upside down cup and handle right there. And then it sold off against that 21 EMA on the 15-minute as well. So you can see right here, potential move to the downside. HERN does have 22.3 million in the float. It could go further. It had earnings, had a major gap down, could go back up and test that 50 simple moving average at 50.50 and then come back down further from there. Because it is so far extended, it might contract a little bit, then more sellers get into it and drop it down. Thank you, Greg. I'm glad you guys are not bothered by it. No, not just yet, sweetheart. I will tell you.
Okay.
All right.
On the other side of the door.
Okay, love. Oops, I'm in the drawing tool. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. So I'll go quick for this because I know I have my little one. She's over there ready and waiting for some love. All right, so here we go. So Western Digital earnings came down, had a big drop down. We have a big doji day right there. Let's see, let's get rid of that VWAP because that will makes it a little more difficult to see, but you can see it. High volume doji, so would look for a break up of 41.30 or break down. I'm going to move this down just a little bit further because I like that support area right here of 39 on the chart. So break above 41.30 or break down of 39. All right, 41.30. And I didn't forget about you long with the Boeing, but I also have two potential longer term swings here. So MLND, I don't usually suggest a pharmaceutical, but this is what I'm looking at, this major gap up. I'm not sure what happened on this day, whether it was just the fact, it was probably the fact that it closed below $5. The institutionals that were holding it had to wipe it off their books because many times you'll see that institutions are not allowed to hold stocks less than $5. They are considered penny stocks in mutual funds. So that could have been part of the reason for the major drop down there. But you can see we did close above the 20 simple moving average, tested almost the 21, and we broke above the 15 EMA, but then it pulled back. And it's got a nice rounded looking bottom. I mean, you can't, right? So it does have earnings, so potential move up into earnings. Right now, if we go from here, that would be a nice $2.92 or 157% potential gap to fill to the upside. Not saying that it will, but potential move. All right, so let's go to my next potential swing, silica. In relation to oil, silica is used in all of the drilling, right? So this might fill the gap up here to 323. It does have a bit of a rounded bottom as well, and it had earnings and it gapped up on earnings and it closed above the 50 simple moving average. So looking at it for that reason, and we look back on the yearly chart, you can see it has been rolling down the hill. So it might come up and just test up here 362 and then pull back as well, because it looks like that's been our line that has been coming down, actually this pink one right here. So it might go up to that 390 range. All right, let's look. All right, Archie, let's look at Boeing for long. Not to go long, but the person. All right, so let's back it out here. So it had this range, right? It couldn't really break above 144.23. So I would need it to really break above that for me to feel comfortable, in my opinion, to go long, because that acted all week as resistance, right? And then we had this area that was support. So would look for that to go ahead and hold as, I would look for that area to go ahead and break as resistance to the upside, and then potentially a target of 176, or if it broke down below 120, 132, 133, would look for that 128 area. If it breaks 128 down to 122.50, then we've got this gap over here, right? Gap down here and gap on the upside. So if it breaks, then 120 would look potentially down to 108 for Boeing. It might have that other meltdown further, especially with Buffett, you know, giving his opinion, why he pulled out, how long it's going to take. Think about back in September 11th, how long did it take for the airlines to really get rolling back to normal? It was a very tough time for the airlines then, very tough time for airlines again. All right, and AJRD. So let's look at AJRD. All right, so AJRD, let's pull it out this way. Arky, are you already in it? Do you already have a position in it? Yeah, all right. So it looks like it did have earnings. It looks like it had a great run up right after earnings, came up, hit the 50 simple moving average, and then pulled back. And it looks like potentially in that downward motion, pulled back to the averages, but would look for that 40-75 area to come to the downside. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a day for today. I have my little one knocking, requesting some attention and some love. So have a great week ahead. Spend time, share some love with friends and family, and higher pay profit, seize those profits one trade at a time. If there's anything you'd like to see in some videos, shoot it in the comments below, or again, shoot me an email at jane@cjanetrade.com. Bye, guys.